Unveiling the heartbreaking truth of the Dodge brothers. A legacy haunted by betrayal. In a quiet Midwestern town, whispers spiraled through the streets like shadows under a waning moon. The name Dodge hung heavy in the air, a name that sparkled with triumph yet stung like a beast's venom. The brothers behind it, John and Horace, were known for that famous car brand, bringing life to iron, a legacy revered and cursed in equal measure. But behind the glint of polished chrome, a secret brewed, dark and twisted. As cars vroomed past, did anyone ever wonder why the townsfolk cast wary glances toward the old Dodge mansion? That eerie, untouched fortress loomed on the outskirts, its windows like blank eyes staring into oblivion. Strange things surrounded the mansion. Local legend had it that shadows danced in the halls when no one was home, illuminating glimpses of a family feud that erupted like a thunderstorm. The brothers forged a powerful business partnership, yet crumbled like a sandcastle when betrayal struck. Through clenched teeth, residents murmured about Horace's tragic fall from grace, a car crash that shattered not just metal, but also the hearts of a family torn apart. Was it an accident, or was there something more sinister at play? On that chilling night, a storm raged. Lightning sliced through the sky, and whispers grew louder. They said it was the brothers' spirits clashing, fighting for dominance even beyond the grave. Sarah, a local historian, stood at the mansion's gate, a journal in hand, her heart pounding like a drum. She felt an unshakable pull toward the darkened doorway, as if the past was tethered to her very soul. What if she could uncover the truth? Each raindrop felt like a question hanging in the air, each gust of wind a challenge to unravel the threads of mystery binding the brothers together and apart. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The thunder rattled the skies as Sarah gathered her courage. With each step, the ground trembled beneath her, a reminder of the scars embedded in the earth. As she reached for the rusty doorknob, a shiver crept down her spine. What secrets breathed behind that door? A crack of thunder boomed as she opened it. It creaked in protest, revealing a dark abyss of dust and unspoken stories, the air thick with betrayal. The hairs on her arms stood up, her breath shallow. Every creak echoed the pulse of family ties frayed by loss. And then, there it was, the flicker of lights, a shadow flitting just out of sight, a breathless whisper of the past calling her name. What was waiting for her inside? And would she survive the truth that had haunted the Dodge brothers for years? The door swung open, groaning as if it had been trapped in a time warp. Sarah stepped inside, her heart racing. Dust swirled in the dim light, illuminating the remnants of a life once vibrant. Old photographs hung crookedly on peeling walls, faces frozen in time, their eyes following her movements. She brushed her fingers over the surface of a dusty table, a shiver erupting from the contact. What secrets lurked in this old place? As she moved deeper into the house, shadows seemed to twist and churn, giving her the sense that she was not alone. It sent a chill through her bones. The air was stale, thick with memories of sorrow. She gripped her journal tighter, each page filled with fragments of local lore, each word a plea for understanding. A loud crash echoed from the upper floor, halting her breath. The sound was like a warning shot, ricocheting off the walls. Is someone up there? Panic threatened to drown her sanity, yet curiosity clawed at her resolve. She had come too far to turn back. Taking a deep breath, she ascended the creaking staircase. Each step felt like a step into the unknown, her heart pounding louder than her footsteps. The second floor was darker, the shadows here heavier. The flickering lights seemed to beckon, guiding her down the corridor toward what appeared to be a study. With trembling hands, she reached for the door, which stood ajar, almost as if it was waiting for someone to enter. Hello? Her voice cracked, barely more than a whisper. The reply was a low hum, vibrating in her bones. She hesitated, then pushed the door wide open. Books lined the shelves, their spines dusty and cracked. A grand desk dominated the room, papers strewn across its surface yellowed with age, filled with diagrams that made her heart race. They appeared to be blueprints of cars, scribbled notes littering the margins. Words like betrayal, revenge, and deceit leaped out at her, each one a nail in a coffin she hadn't realized was being built. A sudden movement caught her eye, and she spun around, wide-eyed. What had vanished moments ago materialized again, a figure, transparent and flickering like an old film reel. It was a man, his features distorted yet painfully familiar. John Dodge. Sarah, his voice was a haunting echo, reverberating off the walls like a distant thunderclap. You must listen. Fear gripped her, a vice around her chest. What happened? What do you want? But John's expression changed, twisting with anguish. It's not just the past, they are coming for the truth. Before she could comprehend, the figure shimmered and vanished, leaving behind only the scent of smoke and ash. The room spun around her. She staggered back to the desk, clutching it for support. Her mind raced. What truth? Who was coming? In that moment, the lights flickered wildly, darkness swallowing the room before silence fell like a heavy curtain. The remaining light struggled against the invading shadows, and for a fleeting moment, she thought she saw another figure lurking behind the door. Something was brewing, a secret that refused to die. As she turned to leave, a deep rumble swept through the air, shaking the floor beneath her feet. It was a warning, a promise of chaos unfurling. In the shadows of the Dodge legacy, the truth clawed its way to the surface. But would Sarah be prepared to face the fury of the past bearing down on her? She paused, breathless at the threshold. What awaited her in the depths of the mansion? Would she become another layer in the haunting legacy? Keenly aware that she was in over her head, she made a choice. The truth was out there, and she would find it. But what she didn't know was that some truths demanded a sacrifice, one that might cost her everything. As the storm raged outside, lightning illuminated a looming figure in the doorway behind her, casting a long shadow that reached for her with desperate intent. What would happen next? Would she uncover the truth? Or would she become yet another victim of the shadows? The figure in the doorway took a step forward, the flicker of the lightning revealing a face that was all too familiar, the unwavering gaze of Victor Dodge. Tension exploded into the air, thick enough to cut through. His smile was disarming, yet it held a glint of something darker, something forged in years of secrets. Sarah, he said smoothly, his voice low and inviting, I didn't expect to find you here. He gestured around the dim room, digging through the past. Stay back, Sarah shouted, her heart racing. The weight of his presence pressed in around her, pulling her towards memories she wasn't ready to confront. What do you want? He tilted his head as he took another step forward, shadows dancing around him like mist. To help you, of course. Understanding your family's legacy is essential. We both know the truth will set you free. She flinched at his words. Was this the same man who had played puppet master with her family's fate? You're lying. You don't care about the truth. Victor chuckled, but there was a chill behind it. Oh, but I do, Sarah. The truth can be a powerful weapon. As if on cue, the lights flickered again, the room almost coming alive with a low hum. Something sinister lurked in the corners, a reminder that time was not their ally. She could feel the house holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Get away from me. Her voice trembled with a mix of fear and defiance as she stepped back slowly, her fingers brushing against the desk. Why fight it? You belong here. Everything you seek is within these walls. His smile widened. Join me, let us uncover the truth together. The flickering lights steadied, casting Victor's face in stark relief. For a moment, she saw her father's resemblance. The resemblance felt like an anchor, moving from steady to seasick, an image of both comfort and remorseless danger. Join you to what end? She snapped, trying to regain control. To become part of whatever twisted legacy you've built. Victor's gaze darkened. You have no idea what you're stepping into. You're here because you need to know the truth about your brother's death, the crash. The betrayal. His tone was almost conspiratorial, as if they shared a secret only they could unveil. The mention of her brother sent a fresh wave of grief crashing over her. I've heard enough lies. She gritted her teeth, desperate to keep her emotions anchored, fighting against the tremors rippling through her body. Then it will happen again, he murmured, stepping into the dim light. You'll lose another family member if you turn away now. Not knowing this could kill you too. Her heart sank. The raw edge in his voice sent chills racing down her spine. What did he know? Was she truly stepping into danger? Or was this all some orchestrated trap designed to keep her from the truth? Just then, a loud bang echoed from the back of the house. The noise was sharp and jarring, like a gunshot, shattering the tension that hung heavily in the air. Both their heads snapped toward the sound. See? Victor leaned closer, his eyes sparkling with a disturbing thrill. More shadows lurking. You can't escape them. Embrace it, Sarah. With her breath hitching in her throat, she turned sharply, wanting to investigate the noise, but he seized her arm, holding her tightly. Don't, he warned, the warmth of his grip turning ice-cold. You can't pursue the shadows. They'll consume you. Intuitively, Sarah knew then. She had no choice but to confront the chaos. She jerked her arm free, the confrontation electrifying the air between them. No more running. I have to face this. The deception and darkness around her began to spin wildly. She took one resolute step towards the doorway when, without warning, the lights flickered out altogether. The world plunged into suffocating darkness. A raspy whisper echoed in the silence around her. You shouldn't have come back, her heart pounding. Sarah could hear the echo of fleeting footsteps retreating into the shadows. In that moment, the house felt alive, a predator ready to pounce. She was on the brink of uncovering a truth that could redefine everything she knew. But as she plunged deeper into the darkness, the question remained: would the truth bring her freedom or become her greatest curse? An unseen force pulled at her, urging her to stay. She was about to learn that some doors, once opened, might never close again. The silence swallowed her, every heartbeat reverberating off the walls like a countdown. Sarah stood in the pitch black, feeling the cold tendrils of fear wrap around her throat. If she could just find the door, find a way back to the light, she might escape the weight of Victor's words. Where are you? Her voice trembled, barely escaping her lips. The air felt thick, smothering her even further. The sudden loud bang from earlier still echoed in her mind, bouncing around memories that screamed for her attention. Panicked whispers slid through the dark, too soft to grasp but heavy with urgency. A distant thud, then another, jolted her from her thoughts. Where was Victor? The realization scraped against her stomach, a fear deeper than any staircase she had ever climbed. Just as she turned to retreat, the lights flickered back to life, a momentary reprieve that illuminated the room with a ghastly, flickering glow. Her heart raced as she scanned the corners, searching for Victor, but found only empty shadows. The air felt charged, alive. Something was here, lurking. Before she could gather her wits, a figure emerged from the back, a silhouette cutting through the dim light. It wasn't Victor. This figure moved with purpose, its footsteps rhythmic and deliberate against the old wooden floor. Who's there? Sarah called, her voice echoing against the walls, strong but edged with dread. The figure paused just for a moment before stepping closer. Sarah, a low voice answered, a voice that was hauntingly familiar. Her breath caught. It was her brother, Luke. No, she whispered, the words slipping through her lips like a prayer. You can't be. He stepped into the light, and terror seized her heart. The expression on his face wasn't the radiant smile she remembered, but one marred with the silent scream of unspoken horrors. There was no trace of life in his eyes, just a depth of sorrow that made her feel as though she was staring into an abyss. You shouldn't have come here, he said, his voice low, almost a whisper. The words penetrated her, each syllable loaded with a weight that made her chest ache. Luke, why are you here? Panic coated her tongue as she took a step back. The truth of what she was feeling clawed at her. This wasn't real. Because of you, he replied, his gaze intense, accusatory. You brought the darkness back with you. The shadows behind him seemed to twist and sway, as if they were alive, preparing to devour them both. What do you mean? Sarah cried, desperation flooding her voice. What darkness? I tried to warn you. I tried to protect you. His face morphed into a mask of torment, and she could hardly bear to look at him. But you have to understand, the truth is not what you think. It's worse. The crash, the betrayal, it's all connected to Victor. As he spoke, fragments of memories floated back, sounds of laughter from days long gone. Simplicity, joy. But they were overshadowed now by dread as looming shadows crept closer. A face she could almost recognize skimming the surface of her mind. What did Victor do? She demanded, the words spilling out in a rush, almost pleading for closure. Everything, he snapped. He holds the key to our family's demise. And if you uncover it, it will begin again. Your fear, he feeds on it, Sarah. It's a cycle. His voice faded as the lights flickered again, and the shadows grasped at the corners of her vision. Suddenly, he reached out, his hand trembling. You have to get out of here. You have to. A deafening crash reverberated through the house, breaking their connection. The lights went out in a single breath, plunging her back into suffocating darkness. Frantic breaths filled the air as she heard Victor's chilling laughter echoing off the walls, wrapping around her like a tightening noose. Did you really think you could escape, Sarah? Her heart hammered in response. Was Luke still there? Was he right? The truth was crawling closer, but all Sarah could think was how tightly the darkness clung to her. And as she felt the world spinning beneath her, the question echoed louder than ever. Was she ready to face Victor, knowing it would put her life, and everyone else she loved, at risk? As shadows melded into one, she clenched her fists, her resolve hardening. She would return. But only one thing was certain. If they were haunted by the past, she had to confront it head-on. With a fast breath, she whispered into the darkness, I don't back down. Not now. A few feet away, something stirred, faint and almost imperceptible. But whatever it was, it sounded dangerously close. What awaited her just beyond the veil of darkness? The darkness pressed in on her like a vice, each breath pulling in the chill that whispered of danger. Sarah's fingers brushed against the cool wooden wall, seeking some measure of familiarity, a lifeline amidst the shadows. But Victor's laughter echoed in her ears, a sinister sound that sent icy tendrils of dread slithering down her spine. She could barely think, her mind racing with fragments of Lucas' words. You brought the darkness back. What did that mean? Was this all her fault? The shadows thickened, alive with unseen eyes watching her every move, and she stumbled, fighting against the gravity of her own fear. Focus, Sarah, she breathed, trying to regain control. Find the door. Get out. But as she moved, the floorboards creaked beneath her weight, a long and haunting melody that stirred the silence. Then came soft, almost imperceptible footsteps, a constant rhythm, like a heartbeat that didn't belong to her. Luke, she called again, her voice shaking, the name catching in her throat. No answer came, just the echoes of her desperation and the heavy rhythm coming closer. The atmosphere shifted, grew heavier, charged with a tension that made the hairs on her arms stand on end. She scanned the space around her, straining to see through the black void. And then she caught a glimpse, a flash of movement, a silhouette darting just beyond the perimeter of the flickering lights. Her heart raced. Who's there? She forced the words out, trying to mask the tremor with a brave front. Sarah, a voice slithered back, dark and menacing. Felt wrong, mangled. Nothing like Luke. The voice took on an edge, malevolent and twisted. You've returned, then. She swallowed hard, her breath hitching. It was Victor, she realized, the predator lurking just out of view. What do you want? The air between them thickened, nearly suffocating. There was a deliberate pause, Victor using it to glean her fear, to feed on her confusion. What I want, he purred, is to show you the truth that's been hidden from you. The truth about your family, about the crash. Everything you think you know is a lie. Pain shot through her. His words dug into her chest, twisting memories. She could almost see images of the accident, broken glass, cries of despair, but they faded away, consumed by the shadows. No more lies, she demanded, her voice stronger than she felt. What did you do? A chilling laugh danced around her. Oh, it's not what I did, but what your family wanted to hide. You should have listened when you had the chance. She could sense him stepping closer, a predatory presence. Panic surged through her veins. You think you can scare me? Scare? He chuckled darkly. No, Sarah. I'm here to empower you, to help you unlock the potential buried deep within your bloodline. All you need to do is embrace the darkness. Something within her churned, a mix of fury and fear. What do you want from me? Only your obedience. Only your acceptance. The cycle will begin again, and the truth will set you free, but only if you dare to take that step. The shadows danced with his words, swirling around her like a storm. The floor beneath her began to tremble, and Sarah felt the ground shift. Her heart raced as visions of Luke flickered through her mind, his warning, his pleading. You have to get out. A gust of wind roared through the room, snatching at her sanity. She clenched her fists, urging herself to resist. I won to be part of your game, she spat, spurred by finding her strength that moment. Victor's shadow extended towards her like a claw. You don't get a choice, Sarah. It's your destiny. With that, the air exploded in a cacophony. A blinding flash lit up the room, disorienting her. A scream echoed, loud and piercing, and as she stumbled back, her fingers found something hard and jagged, a shard of broken glass. In that split second, clarity struck her. She wouldn't run anymore. Luke was right. If she was going to face Victor, she needed to confront the truth about her family, even if it terrified her. But just as she was about to launch forward, the glass shard glinted ominously in the low light, and she felt a rush of cold air whip through the room. She blinked, and Victor was gone, leaving only the whispers of the shadows and the echo of his words slamming into her. Prepare yourself, Sarah. We will meet again. A shudder passed through her, and she realized that she was deeper in this nightmare than she ever imagined. The weight of despair settled heavy, but with it came a flicker of resolve. She was not going to run. She was going to fight. But would it be enough? Out of the darkness, a chilling thought pierced her. What if Victor was right? What if the truth was more terrifying than anything she had faced so far? Next to her, in the fleeting light, the shadows shifted once more, a fleeting form, the face of a woman she didn't recognize yet felt intimately connected to. Who was she? What did Sarah need to uncover about her own legacy as that figure loomed closer in the darkness? A shiver ran down Sarah's spine as the figure emerged from the shadows. The face, soft yet haunting, filled her with an odd sense of familiarity. Who was this woman? She stepped closer, her features sharpened by the dim, flickering light. Sarah, the woman's voice was a whisper, each syllable dripping with sorrow. You need to listen to me. Who are you? Sarah could barely form the words, her heart a wild drum in her chest. Why do you look like? Because I am part of you, the woman replied, her gaze piercing through the depths of Sarah's fear. I am your mother. The revelation hit like a punch. No, that can't be. Sarah shook her head, trying to dismiss the impossibility of it all. But the connection she felt was undeniable. There was a warmth within the cold, a sense of home she had longed for. You died in the crash, yes, her mother said solemnly, but I was never truly gone. My spirit lingers, bound to the shadows, watching over you. The darkness you sensed isn't just Victor's. It's part of our family's history, a legacy intertwined with betrayal and secrets. Betrayal? The word fell from Sarah's lips like lead. Her mind raced with the memories of the whispers, the night of the accident. The faces of the family she had always known seemed to morph in her mind. What are you saying? I can't tell you everything now, her mother replied, stepping closer into the flickering light, revealing a glimmer of hope in her eyes. But you have to break the cycle. You must confront Victor and the truth behind our past. And how am I supposed to do that? Panic laced her question as the shadows tightened, swirling around her, threatening to pull her down once more. Find the other. The key lies in the pendant, her mother urged, her voice trembling. The one you refuse to wear. It holds the connection to our strength, our truth. Without it, you will be an open target for Victor's manipulation. Sarah felt the tug of desperation. Her mother's words were heavy, laden with shadows of anguish. But I don't know where it is, she admitted, anxiety clawing at her throat. It is closer than you think, her mother said gently. You must trust your instincts. They will guide you through the darkness. Suddenly, the air shifted. A blast of cold wind swept through the space, scattering the shadows. In the chaos, Sarah instinctively reached out for her mother, but she felt herself slipping away, the form fading like mist. Wait, don't go. Remember? Sarah. Her mother's voice echoed, fading too quickly. You are stronger than you realize. The truth will set you free, but you have to choose to see it. An overwhelming sense of loss crashed over Sarah. Come back, she shouted, feeling utterly alone as silence enveloped her. The weight of impending despair threatened to crush her spirit. But, somewhere underneath the fear, a flicker of determination ignited. The pendant she needed to find it. With newfound resolve, she turned back into the darkness, her heart racing as she prepared to navigate the shadows Victor held hostage. She moved cautiously through the hall. Every sound seemed amplified, the creaking boards, the rustling wind like distant whispers rising against the walls. Then, in the corner of her eye, something shimmered. A glint in the half-light caught her breath. Could it be? But before she could reach it, the shadows thickened and a loud crash echoed through the space, making her jump. A figure loomed in the dark, blocking her path, and Sarah's heart plummeted. Going somewhere? Victor's voice pierced through, layered with mockery. As realization dawned, and dread returned, she clenched the shard of glass in her hand. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was about the legacy she carried. And as Victor stepped closer, the confrontation became inevitable. She wasn't just going to uncover the truth, she was going to stand her ground. But would it be enough against the darkness that threatened to devour her whole? And as Victor's sinister smile flashed in the dim light, the haunting question pressed upon her. Would embracing her legacy grant her strength, or would it seal her fate? Panic washed over Sarah as Victor loomed closer, his presence dominating the narrow hallway. Each taunt clung to the air like a suffocating fog. You think you can confront me without understanding what you're up against? He sneered, eyes glinting with cruel amusement. No, she barked, gripping the glass shard tighter. It bit into her palm, sharp and unyielding, grounding her in the moment. She had to think, had to stay strong. I'm not afraid of you, Victor chuckled, low and disconcerting. You should be. In that fleeting moment, shadows danced around him, as if at his command. They curled like tendrils, reaching out, reminding her of how close the darkness and doubt had come. She couldn't let it win, not now, not ever. Where is it? She demanded, summoning whatever courage bubbled within her. Where's the pendant? Victor stepped forward, his breath heavy with disdain. You think this is just about a trinket? Your mother's illusions can't protect you. Something inside Sarah snapped. She called upon the words of the woman who had just vanished, her mother's warning echoing in her mind. You must break the cycle. Who are you, really? She spat out, searching Victor's face for the truth hidden behind his sneer. What do you know about my family? For a brief instant, Victor's expression faltered, and Sarah seized the moment, her voice rising. Did you have something to do with her death? Is that why you think you can control me? The laughter stopped abruptly. An unsettling silence fell between them. Victor's eyes darkened with something that felt almost like rage. You shouldn't dig too deep into things you don't understand, he warned, his voice a low growl. The truth is fraught with pain, and pain has a way of shaping you, turning you into something unrecognizable. What are you so afraid of? She shot back, emboldened by her defiance. Are you terrified I might actually find out the truth? His face crashed into a mask of fury, and just as quickly as it came, it melted into a grin, chilling her core. There are things buried deep in our family's past you can't even begin to comprehend. Things that would consume you whole. An unsettling tension crackled in the space between them, and Sarah felt a new wave of determination wash over her. Then tell me how to break this cycle. With a swift movement he advanced. You want the truth? Fine. It all begins with the pendant, your mother's legacy. But if you find it, his tone turned mocking, you just want to confront me. You might wish you never learned it at all. Seizing an opening, Sarah sprang sideways, darting past him into the shadows. Her heart pounded as she navigated the hall's uncertain embrace. Could she really take control of her destiny? Victor's footsteps echoed ominously behind her, his laughter trailing like a storm. Run while you can, Sarah. You may find much more than you bargained for. Breathless, she rounded a corner, her mind racing. She had to keep moving, had to find the pendant, to discover her strength. Her mother's spirit urged her on, and the burdens of the past swirled around her like a tempest. Suddenly, she skidded to a halt, her eyes drawn to the dim light peeking from a cracked door at the end of the hallway. Could it be? There was something valuable waiting for her on the other side. But before she could reach it, she heard Victor's voice curling around her like a noose. Knowing can be a curse, Sarah. You may want to turn back while you still can. In that instant, Sarah felt a chill grip her heart. What awaited her beyond that door? Would uncovering the truth liberate her or bind her in chains of despair? The choice loomed, and she hesitated, breaths quickening in anticipation. Would she step forward into the unknown? Or was she destined to turn back into the inky darkness where secrets festered? The moment was critical, and just then, behind the door, a sound broke the thundering silence. As if something had shifted, what lay beyond could change everything. Sarah's heart raced as she stood before the door, the soft light casting eerie shadows on the walls around her. The sound from inside was faint but insistent, like a whisper calling her name. Fear wrestled with curiosity, and for a split second, she considered retreating. But retreating had never been an option. Victor's mocking laughter echoed in her mind, a taunt that pushed her forward. Taking a breath, she forced herself to reach for the door handle, the metal cool against her skin. With a firm twist, she threw the door open and stepped inside. The room was small and dimly lit, the air thick with dust motes dancing in the light like spirits from the past. Wooden shelves lined the walls, each crammed with old books, tarnished trophies, and photographs that stood witness to forgotten moments. In the far corner, a table was cluttered with trinkets that seemed to shimmer with energy. Yet her eyes were immediately drawn to a small, ornate box sitting atop a velvet cloth at the center of the table as she approached. Her breath caught in her throat. The box looked familiar, almost alive with a pulse of its own. It had to be the pendant south resting place. This was her mother's legacy, something she'd only seen in old family photos, a glimmer of hope in a sea of despair. But the moment she touched the box, a jolt surged through her body, a rush of emotions flooding her mind. Memories that weren't her own surged like a tide. She stumbled backwards, clutching her head as visions cascaded. Her mother laughing in a sunlit garden, a shadowy figure standing behind her, betrayal lurking in the background. No, she gasped, trying to shake the images off like a bad dream, but they clung stubbornly. What is this? Victor's voice pierced through the tumult, cold and mocking. You think you're ready to handle what's inside? You don't even know the half of it, Sarah. She whipped around, anger coursing through her. You think you can scare me? I don't know what you did, but I won't let you keep me in the dark. As if on cue, the lights flickered and shadows danced incoherently along the walls. The air turned electric, a foreboding sense settling around her. What are you hiding about my family? Victor stepped into the doorway, his silhouette menacing under the frame. I'm not hiding anything. The truth is right in front of you, but it's more twisted than you can imagine. The pendant is a key, one that opens doors to darkness. What do you mean? Sarah demanded, her voice shaky though filled with fierce defiance. He chuckled darkly, his eyes flashing with amusement and menace. Once you open that box, you're bound to the legacy it holds. You're not just a bystander in this story anymore. You're in it, Sarah. And everything tied to that pendant will come rushing back, every secret, every betrayal. Secrets? She challenged. Ever since I got here, all I've heard are your twisted games. What was my mother protecting me from? Victor leaned casually against the doorframe, as if relishing the moment. From me? Or from yourself? His smile bore a chilling edge, one that sent 1,000 needles of fear skimming along her spine. In that instant, something inside Sarah broke free. The urgencies of the past, her mother's whispers, Victor's threats became fuel for her fire. She wouldn't let fear dictate her path any longer. Sarah stepped forward, edging towards the box, heart pounding with reckless ambition. The lid was cracked slightly open. She could feel the strange energy radiating from within. I have to know. I must confront whatever this is. Then brace yourself, Sarah, Victor breathed, voice low and foreboding. You're about to unleash the truth, and it might just be the end of you. The tension in the room escalated to a crescendo as she lifted the lid. The box creaked, and the air thickened with anticipation. She peered inside, heart racing. Would the truth empower her, or would it shatter her world entirely? Just then, a wave of energy burst forth, surrounding her entirely, and Sarah gasped as a vision exploded into her mind, a future intertwined with darkness. And revelation that would change everything. What awaited her now was a truth so profound it could ignite a war within her heart and soul. Light swirled around Sarah, blinding her momentarily as the energy enveloped her. A deep hum resonated in her bones, a vibration that thrummed with life and death. She felt herself falling, or perhaps ascending, through a tunnel of memories, drifting in and out of moments that belonged to her mother and, against her will, to the dark figure looming over them. Sarah. No. Her mother's voice echoed through the tempest, strained with urgency. Then, a flood of images crashed down upon her. A family gathering filled with laughter, the warmth of summer sun on their backs. Yet behind it all lurked shadows, hushed conversations, tight-lipped glances, and an envelope marked clearly with betrayal. No. Sarah cried out, desperation rising as the surge of painful memories overwhelmed her. Voices layered upon each other, all speaking her name, all warning her of dangers unseen. In that moment, she realized she was no longer just an observer. She was part of this chaos. Gritting her teeth, Sarah focused on pushing through, battling the weight of every hidden truth. The box before her glowed ominously, thrumming like a beating heart as if aware of her struggle. With each passing second, it seemed to cry out, demanding attention, urging her to discover what lay inside, as if sensing her hesitance. Victor's laughter echoed once more, tinged with the satisfaction of knowing he'd ensnared her in this web of torment. You think you can outrun your destiny? Every step you take leads you closer to me, he sneered, a predator reveling in the hunt. A flash of clarity struck her amidst the chaos. She could see it now, a revelation lurking just out of reach, like an answer in the darkness. I am not afraid of you, she declared, her voice fierce and resolute. The shadows around her twisted, momentarily hesitating, as if surprised by her defiance. I'm afraid you should be, he retorted, eyes narrowing with maleficence. Sudden warmth pooled over her, and she felt the connection to her mother surging, an invisible thread that linked their fates. I know you're here, Mom. You're with me. With renewed determination, Sarah pulled the lid of the box open wider, a rush of air skimming across her face like a lover's breath. Inside, nestled among shimmering fabrics, was the pendant, glowing with a strange silver light that made her pulse quicken. Take it, the whisper grew louder, almost pleading. Vision swirled again, the weight of lost time slamming down upon her as she recognized the pendant's significance. Not just a piece of jewelry, but a symbol of her family's darkness. This was the key. Will you embrace your legacy? Victor challenged, amusement dancing in his gaze. That which was lost can also destroy you. The pendant pulsed with possibility in Sarah's hand. She could feel its power, the connection to her lineage, the pain, the strength, the desperation. Her heart raced as she understood. What defines a legacy? Betrayal or love? Could she rewrite the story etched in shadows? She gripped the pendant tightly, emotions churning painfully within her. No, I won't let this define me. I won't be bound by the past. In a bold flourish, Sarah slung the pendant around her neck. A surge of energy coursed through her, a shocking connection to the power of her ancestors and all their mistakes. Could it harmonize her future and the darkness that threatened to consume her? Victor's expression darkened, the mocking facade dropping. You don't know what you've just unleashed, he warned, an urgency creeping into his voice that startled her. Suddenly, the walls began to tremble, the air thick with an unseen energy that clamored to be set free. The room around them morphed, shadows writhed, and the past converged with the present, all because of one decision. Sarah. A voice broke through, clearer now, a forceful roar calling her name. Determined, heart pounding, she stood tall. Was this the moment where all would change? Would she unlock freedom or invite chaos? But as the shadows coiled tighter, impenetrable darkness whispered back. Was she strong enough to face what came next? Was her heart ready for the truth waiting to be unveiled? The world spun around Sarah as she stood there, the pendant resting heavily on her chest. She could feel its pulse like a heartbeat echoing the dark legacy of her family. Distant whispers, warnings and prophecies, intertwining threads pulling her in every direction. This is it, she told herself, though her heart thrummed with fear. Victor's smile twisted into something sinister. Do you truly believe that wearing that trinket can save you? He mocked, stepping closer, the shadows closing in around him. This isn't a trinket. It's my truth, she shot back, her voice ringing with newfound strength. The energy from the pendant thrummed through her like a surge of electricity, illuminating the dark corners of her mind, a reminder of who she was and what she fought for. This ends here. A chill swept through the room as shadows flared in response to her defiance. They rushed toward her like a tidal wave, howling with the noise of voices from the past. But she felt the pendant warm against her skin, anchoring her even as Victor's laughter wrapped around her like a suffocating blanket. Such foolish hope, he scoffed. You're embracing your death sentence, Sarah. Every last shred of it will come crashing down on you. No, she shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos. I'm not afraid of you or your lies. You think you've woven this tapestry of dread. But I'm the one with the truth. Victor paused, an expression of disbelief momentarily crossing his face. And in that fleeting instant, Sarah seized the opportunity. She drew in a deep breath, letting her voice resonate with the power of generations before her. I choose to break the cycle. I choose to live free of your darkness. Light erupted from the pendant, brilliant and blinding. It expanded outward, pulsing waves of energy poured forth, sending shadows spiraling away. She stood amidst the storm of conflicting energies, unyielding against the chaos. The dark whispers turned to screams as the energy enveloped Victor, holding him captive in a shimmering cocoon. What is this? He roared, eyes wide with shock, the amusement evaporating from his face. It's my family's legacy, she declared, stepping forward, her heart racing with conviction. One of love and betrayal, yes, but one that will not define me. You think you control the darkness, but it is time I took hold of the light. The warmth surged, spreading through the room, weaving into the fabric of the mansion's very walls. The echoes of laughter and sorrow danced through the atmosphere, swirls of her family's remnants alive once more. People she loved, lost but not forgotten. She could see them, feel them, rising against the shadows that had once held them captive. With a wave of her hand, Sarah directed the light toward Victor. The shadows recoiled as if stung, retreating into the corners, and with one final burst, enveloped him completely. For a heartbeat, the world paused, a stifled breath hanging in time. Then, with a heart-wrenching scream, he was gone. The shadows dissipated, leaving only silence in their wake. Sarah faltered for a moment, the sudden absence of the threat leaving a gaping void. She was alone but not alone. Warmth flooded her, memories of her mother's smile, and her brother's laughter wrapping around her like a protective embrace. The legacy would no longer haunt her. It would inspire her as the dim light of the mansion settled, She could feel the weight of the darkness lift, replaced by something new, a glimmer of hope. And with that hope, she felt a calling deep within her that it would take time to untangle the threads, to rewrite everything. But she was ready. She had uncovered the truth, and with it, the power to change her story. Sarah stepped outside the mansion into the cool night air, the moon casting a gentle light upon her face. The storm had passed, and stars sparkled brightly overhead. A new beginning awaited her, vibrant with possibility. The legacy would thrive through her, but its shadows would not control her. With purpose in her heart, she whispered into the night, "You don't get the final say." And as she walked, away from the haunted echoes of her family's past, she resolved to build a future that would honor their dreams, untainted by betrayal. It was time to live, to forge her own path, and ensure their legacy was light, not darkness. Finally free. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Let's create an amazing community together. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. This is the moment to engage and be a true fan.